it's editing Rachel. It's first thing in the morning. And before we get into the video, I wanted to make a couple of really important announcements. This video is not sponsored. It's just I wanted to say these things before we get into it so that they're like actually seen. The first announcement is I wanted to let y'all know about something really important that's happening in the community, which is BookNet Fest, which is happening in Orlando, Florida, this upcoming month in Pride Month, which is exciting, June 16th and 17th here in Florida in Orlando at the Drury Plaza Hotel. It is run by two of our own, Mari from My Name is Marinez and Sam from Thoughts on Tomes created it back in 2017. They've been on hiatus because of COVID, but today is this year's the first year that we're back in person. I attended in 2019, and now I'm coming back this year in 2023 as a panelist, and I'm really excited. But the event is really important to the community. I feel the event is something that is not like any other book event, which is why it was created in the first place. It's not like Y'all Fest. It's not like BookCon or Book Expo. What it is it's for everybody in the community, so not just authors and readers, but also bookish content creators, so that we can have conversations not just about books and not just talking to authors about writing, but also having very particular discussions about bookish content creation, existing as a book content creator online. All of those conversations that we are always having online, having them in person. And I think that it's probably the most important event in the book community for that reason. But there's also giveaways, there's panels, there's workshops, there's so much going on. And hopefully, I'm really hoping that a organization that I work in tandem with about the book banning here in Florida, where the event is held, Florida Freedom to Read Project is hopefully going to be involved. So just really exciting and really important stuff. So what I'm hoping is that I can convince you all to go if you are able, if you are willing to, if you're financially able to go. I'm really hoping that I can convince you all to come out and show up and take part. It's a really fun and exciting event. I don't go on vacations, but this is like my vacation, but it's also kind of like work, so that's very exciting. I'm very excited to go. I'm very excited to see people. I know that several people in the community who I am close with are going. I'm very excited to see you all, so I'm hoping to convince more of you to go. It's a very important event, and I hope to see you there. All of the information can be found linked down below. And again, this is not sponsored. I just think it's a really important event that I hope to see you at. The second announcement is that I have gotten a lot of messages. If you are trying to contact me on Twitter, I have been locked out of my Twitter account for a month now. I can't get back in. They won't give it back to me. I've contacted Twitter. They don't care. I haven't seen your messages. It's been a month. I can't get in there. They won't let me change my password. They say that it's not connected to my email or my phone. I can't do anything, so I don't know what to do. I'm sorry if you're trying to contact me that way. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't get in there. So I just wanted to let y'all know that I can't get into my Twitter account. So I did make a new one, but I basically never check it because it's just like depressing that I had to make a new one, so I just don't care about it. If you need to contact me, you can email me. My email is down below. You can also try to reach out on like my other socials, but emailing me is the quickest way to get in touch with me. So all that to say, go to BookNet Fest if you can, and I cannot get into my Twitter account, so please don't DM me there and hope to hear from me because you won't. I'm sorry. Okay, on to the video. Thanks for watching. Hi, my name's Rachel, and today we're talking about two novellas I read, and these are the novellas in the Night and Its Moon series. I read both novellas in the Night and Its Moon series, and all I got was this t-shirt. Just kidding. All I got was nothing. I didn't even get a t-shirt. There's two novellas we're going to talk about today, Wing and Arrow and A Night Without Whispers. Wing and Arrow is the first one I'll discuss because I want to end this on a nicer note, and I have nicer things to say about Night Without Whispers than I do about Wing and Arrow. I didn't really like either. I'm confused as to why they exist, honestly. I feel this way about a lot of novellas that are attached to like longer books. Like I really, really despise A Court of Frost and Starlight. The general feeling I got while reading this is the same, these two is the same feeling I got while reading A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is, why am I here? Do I need to be here for this?
This one is just a list of words that rhyme with moon. But then right away it's bun. Moon, spoon, loon, bun. The heck is this?
Okay, so Wing and Arrow is Zakai's story. A Night Without Whispers is Odrin's story. If we remember, Zakai is the spy master of Roscott, if you recall from the books. You probably don't because he's completely insignificant in the books. He is the Azrael in this story, and his general Gadriel is the Rhysand in this story. So we'll start there and then we'll talk about the Odrin one. Zakai is just like, he is subordinate to this book series, Rhysand, Gadriel. They are winged fae, and he is the spy master, just like basically Azrael is the spy master. And he is the commander of the Totally Spies of Roscott. The Totally Spies of Roscott. Cool. We open and he's fucking. He's fucking some lady named Briar. And right off the bat, like one of the first lines is, the only light in the tent came from the fires that crackled throughout the mining camp. The only light in the tent came from the fires that crackled throughout the mining camp. Okay? Her skin shimmered even in the dim orange lantern light. Those sentences are right next to each other. And that doesn't make any sense. Lanterns don't crackle because they don't have any wood. They run on gas. And you just said that the only light came from the fires that are crackling throughout the mining camp. So is there only fires, or is there also lanterns?
This is for somebody who doesn't think lyrically in terms of like poetic words that just are strung.
Because, like, the only fires are fires that crackle. Like, words mean things. Anyway, okay, we'll move on. It's just, if this had been, like, in the middle of a chapter, I would have been like, whatever. But it's, like, the first sentence, and I was like, what? Okay. Also, I just want to complain really quick. Again, I don't really like novellas, but the fact that this novella, and so does the other one, has parts, I'm like, why? Why do we need parts? It's a novella. It's like this big. I don't know. Anyway, okay, moving on. So they're fucking, and he said, with slow, deep, rhythmic precisions, he rammed into her. How do you ram slowly? That is opposite. Is this ramming slowly? That's not ramming. That's touching. That's ramming. Like, ram it inherently comes with force, and you can't force something slowly. Words mean things. But they do make a joke, and she's like, this human chick he's fucking Briar says that he's not terrible in bed, and he says, not terrible, please put that on my tombstone. And I thought that was funny. He tells her, you smell like chamomile and rebellion, and she says, you can't smell rebellion. And I was like, damn it, man, it would be so funny if one of these fucking fantasy authors would one time start making fun of, like, repeatedly, like, making an ongoing joke, how people say, you smell like X, and a person says, you can't smell like that. Instead, like, it's just in here, and it's not consistent, because the rest of the books actually have smells that are not smells. Come on, do an ongoing good joke. I like jokes. I want a hee hee ha ha. So they're fucking, good for them, and they're just friends with benefits. He wants more, she doesn't. She's human. She's like, you're gonna outlive me, so I'm not interested in all that shit. She is interested though in fucking other people, and so she's like, hey, you know, Ren, don't laugh yet. Hey, you know Ren, my commanding officer, he's getting promoted from captain to major. So, like, that's like, if you're gonna talk about ranks, like, if I were tippity tapping away, I would be like, hey babe, what is major? Is major higher than captain, or the other way around? And they'd be like, major is below a captain. I'd be like, dope, typity.
It is driving me absolutely bonkers that I said major is below a captain when I meant to say major is not below a captain. A major is above a captain is what I was trying to say here, and I said it wrong. I was making a point, and even I said it wrong because I am stupid. So my point was, major is not below a captain. You don't get promoted from major to captain. You get promoted from captain to major. Carlos is in the military, so I asked him, and he and I were laughing about this. Okay, bye.
2 seconds. doesn't make any fucking sense. And the thing is that, like, I had to laugh this off, but then the rest of it also does not make any sense because this military does not make any fucking sense, okay? It doesn't make any fucking sense, okay? And that's when I started reading it to my husband, and we were cracking up because this shit as a military does not make any fucking sense. Anyway, Briar wants to fuck her commanding officer who's being promoted. Once he's promoted, they can't fraternize, which is also a thing like in the actual US military, right? It's very common. Okay, so you can't fraternize below a certain rank. And she's like, I want to fuck him before he ranks up. And she's talking to Zakai about this, and she's like, so do you think that he would like be interested? She's like, but would you be interested? Like, she wants to do a threesome. Good for her.
For togetherness. All five of us. Sex fists in our way.
So she invites Ren, and Zakai shows up, and her and Ren are talking, and they're like trying to ease into a threesome. It's a little awkward. They're sharing some drinks, and she tries to play a game called Wed, Dead, Behead, which is basically fuck, marry, kill, which is pretty funny, like to convert it into like fantasy terms. Wed, dead, behead, fuck, marry, kill. It's cute. I like it. But you have to pick the All-Mother, the General, or the King. And just trying to transfer this like into a one-to-one, like if we're going to talk about religious trauma, then obviously like I don't know. I'm trying to think about like where would I ever do fuck, marry, kill and involve God? This was weird. Anyway, the All-Mother is the goddess, right? Who they all believe in. Everybody believes in it. There's no question. The goddess is real. I don't love the religious stuff in this series. It's just very underdone. And then so they're like, would you fuck, marry, kill essentially the General, the All-Mother, or the King? And basically everybody's like, fuck the King.
Fuck the King.
But not really, because they're like loyal. And this is before everything that happens in the Night and Its Moon, where King Cerys goes off the deep end. And then she's like, would you rather give or receive? And then you're told that they all fuck.
Filth and lust is all over this room. Smells like frickin' Tijuana.
But the way you're told this is like really weird, where it's like Zakai is like has memories, and one of those memories is like his mom buying him a puppy and seeing a fawn, and he says that the memory of this threesome is one that he could bottle forever. I'm like, cool, I guess. I don't know. Was it that good? So then we're told in a new scene that they've fucked a bunch of times over the course of however long, okay? And they're in like a war camp, I forgot to mention. So they're playing Truth or Dare stick draw. Briar gets Truth, Zakai gets Dare. She dares Zakai and Ren to fuck. Now remember that the premise of them was she's like, you know, like the base of this, and then they're fucking her, right? And that's how the dynamic started. And she dares them to fuck, and he asks her for the truth. She got the truth stick. How long she's been planning to see them fuck. I don't know, it's weird. But they fuck, right? And then part 3 of this rolls around because for some reason, again, there's parts in a novella, is called deployment. I don't think it was ever actually called a deployment in the text though, which was very odd. Briar shows up while Zakai is training with his troops, and she's like, I'm being sent back to Gwydir on an intelligence mission. And he's like, I am intelligence, because he's the literal spy master. He's the commander of reconnaissance and all that shit. And it says his temper flares and he like squeezes her arm. If that's supposed to be sexy, it's lost on me. Forgets to rein that shit in, and I would be punching him in the face, but whatever. He's like, I'll talk to Gadriel, and Briar says, well, this was his order. So, and he's just mad because he like wants to stay and remain fucking. But like, bro, you knew this was coming. She doesn't want to be with you. She said that multiple times. Respect her boundaries, and like you knew that eventually you were all gonna like leave and go do other things. All this just rings hollow to me because these characters aren't really developed like in the actual books at all, so this attempt to do it here is pretty shallow. It also says that he has dampening powers, which is shielding their conversation from the troops around them, which reminded me of this hilarious scene from Get Smart.
That's the cone of silence.
Oh, Max, not the cone of silence. We're in a safe room.
It's not working!
Chief!
It's not
Chief!
working!
I hit you in the head with a fire extinguisher!
So Ren can't go with her, right? Because he got promoted to captain from major. Oh, I said it the wrong way around the other time, didn't I? He got promoted to captain from major, which doesn't make any sense because in every branch except the Navy, major outranks captain, but all right. She's like, I'll be fine. It's fine that Ren can't go with me. By the way, make sure you guys fuck each other while I'm away. You two are hot as sin together, and he really likes you, is what she says. Not taking into account whether or not Zakai likes Ren, or anything, but all right. Zakai goes to talk to the major, which is again somehow ranked below a captain, but whatever. Gadriel shows up, not Rhysand shows up, and Zakai makes a comment about how Gadriel's sergeant being like mouthy or something is proof that Roscott's military is far too lax. Lax is the least of the problems about this military because this military does not make any fucking sense. And the evidence of that is Gadriel being like, are you keeping them in line for me? And Zakai is like, are you responsible for sending these new reconnaissance folks my way? Because I'm about to fire every one of them and make the spy network a one-man job. And I'm like, what? What was the spy network in the military before? You're just now creating reconnaissance teams? You don't have it established? How long have you been commander of the spy network? You've been the spy master how long? Were you just appointed to the position? What kind of spy master doesn't know about an intelligence mission? How do they even make intelligence missions without the spy master knowing about it? How is he not in charge of creating the spy network itself and setting the parameters for who should and should not be in the spy network?
This is so terrible.
And then they allude that it's the recruiter's fault, which honestly, in a way, fair. If you're in, you know what I'm talking about. Gadriel's like, I'll ask the colonel. Why would the colonel know? We're just throwing around terms and not making any structure that makes sense in the military here. It would make more sense if this was like an ongoing broken issue of the spy network just not really being cultivated in the military in Roscott, and he just gets appointed to being the commander and him being sent reconnaissance folks straight out of tech school, but not reconnaissance folks straight out of joining the military. That doesn't make any sense because when you join the military, you take a test that lets you know like what jobs you qualify for, and then after you do basic training, you go do specific training on that job. So like if they did not qualify for reconnaissance in the real military, they would never be sent if they didn't show some sort of aptitude for that. So this just doesn't really make any sense. And maybe like there would be a colonel stepping on Zakai's toes, the spy master toes, and not really letting Zakai do his job. Like that would have made more sense if we had structured it like that, as Zakai's just coming into this role and he's trying to like, you know, create this spy network, and it's going poorly for various reasons. And a colonel who doesn't like Zakai ends up sending Briar to do a mission that Zakai doesn't want her to go on, doesn't think is worth the mission, that kind of thing. Instead, that's not what happens. Gadriel is like, I don't know anything about this reconnaissance mission.
I didn't do fucking shit. I didn't rig shit. I didn't fucking do this.
Your info is incorrect. And that's when he learns that the archers did go to the front line, so he's mad because Briar lied to him because she said she wasn't going and doing anything dangerous. But like, why would she lie? Like she doesn't need to lie to it. It's just stupid. And like, wouldn't lying be wrong? Like it wouldn't, I don't want to call it the UCMJ because that's not what it is, but like, wouldn't be lying to your superior officer be incorrect? Wait, how is she allowed to fraternize with Ren, but Zakai's a commander and that's not fraternizing? None of this makes any sense. My husband and I were dying over this yesterday. So it says that after he figures out that Briar lied to him about, you know, whether or not she'd be in like a safe area or not, basically, he goes and has sex with Ren again, just him and Ren. But like the way the narration says it, it makes it clear that like basically he's just like angry fucking Ren to get back at Briar because he's mad at Briar for lying to him.
Any way we could speed this process along? What do you say, you dirty slut?
A girl walks up to him from his reconnaissance team who he thinks are all like incompetent, and he's like, oh, she has an infatuation. I don't know if it's with me or with if it's with reconnaissance or with the military. And I'm like, ew, that feels kind of mean towards women. Like women in the military are infatuated with the military. That's just weird. I don't know. It was weird. And she's like, oh, I'm not hitting on you. I'm just here to say that archer that you were friends with is back. He goes to find Briar, literally runs into her, and then says, you evil bitch.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? No, a summer's day is not a bitch.
For lying to him about her safety. Okay. He's like, you volunteered to go. She says, no, I didn't. And says, you're a terrible spy master if you think that that's what happened. And babe, I fucking agree. None of this makes any fucking sense. You're the spy master. You're the spy novice, maybe. And then they make out.
You're my boo, and I've been missing you. I've been missing you oh so long.
And don't acknowledge that something is clearly amiss, which is one of my least favorite things that people do with books. I prefer it when it's not obvious to the reader that something external is responsible for XYZ, and it just makes the character seem stupid to know that something is amiss, and then it's obvious to the readers, and then the characters just ignore it. Why are you ignoring it? That seems like a pretty pressing issue. We switch to a new scene, and the first line is, he expected Ren to be happy. And at that point I went, oh,
oh, come on. This cannot be where this goes. It is. And Ren's like, you're happy she's back? And it's like, ew, weren't you concerned with her safety? Turns out, no, he wasn't. He says, I thought that you and I had moved past her. And Zakai is like, that's not fair because the original dynamic we were introduced into was the three of us. So I don't know why you're changing your expectations of me.
You gave me a cookie, gave you cookie. Gave me cookie, got you cookie. You gave me cookie, I got you cookie, man.
Which is a fair question to ask Ren, but it's also a fair question to ask the author because we have switched Ren completely from who he was when he was introduced to who he is now. And Ren's like, it's because she's a woman, isn't it? Y'all were fucking her first. And then he finds out it was Ren who sent the archery unit to the border, which, like, how did Ren not think that the spy master would, like, not find out he's the spy master? Clearly the worst spy master in the world, apparently, and in all of fiction, but nonetheless, like, how is Ren more in charge than Zakai? Zakai is like, you're gonna be court-martialed, you're gonna be found guilty, and Ren says, for wanting to be with you? And I'm like, this does not feel like in continuity with their dynamic that we were introduced to. Zakai is like, you manipulated your king's military so you can get laid, and that's a crime. And I was like, wait, so this was like, was this the author's best attempt at like redoing the story of King David and Bathsheba? Because if so, this is terrible and it could have been done much better. What a waste, because I would like to see that, but this is bad because the continuity is bad and also the dynamics of the military don't make any sense. He, you know, gets court-martialed and Briar says, I don't really want to pursue any sort of relationship with you at all anymore.
This is my life. It's my dream. Nothing's gonna stop me now.
Because, you know, eventually I am going to grow old because I'm mortal and you're not. And then later, like lots and lots of years later, we see her and him like see each other at a bar and she's older and has married a mortal guy. The end.
I've had the time of my life, and I owe it all to you.
Okay, so I did not like that.
That was so horrible.
I didn't like that. No, I gave it a 1. I didn't like it. But I gave A Night Without Whispers a 2. Okay, so let's move on to that because I think this is the better out of the two of them. So we open and Odrin is, what is her name? Effie? Effie. Okay, Odrin, who is Amaris's Ciri, and Odrin is essentially Geralt. And this is this book's version of Geralt, except he has brown hair. Odrin is actually a name from The Witcher 2. Anyway, so Odrin, we see him as a kid and he is friends with he had a friend who died and he's friends with that kid's younger sister whose name is Effie, and they find like a deer horn head antlers, Jesus Christ, Rachel, and they make like friendship charms out of it. They get older, they're picking apples together in like a secret orchard, they're, you know, getting friendlier and friendlier, and he is in love with her. He's 16 and I think she was 14, which is a little weird, but whatever. And then a monster comes upon them, and who should show up but a Reaver, and the Witcher sort of saves them, but like, you know, Effie almost got hurt. Odrin feels like so responsible that he just abandons her and his parents. Her parents, her dad was the butcher and his dad was like the leather maker, and he just abandons everybody and runs off with this Reaver for no reason. It was so weird. It says time passed as it does. Yes, it does. And it says, one moment he'd had his whole life ahead of him, and the next he'd either be satisfied that he'd lived it to its fullest or realized he's wasted his time on Earth with the foolish belief that he had more time. And I was like, wow, that is certainly a string of words. Good Lord. 10 years later, it says he didn't know if his parents would be happy to see him or if they cursed him for leaving when they needed him to take over the shop and continue the family business. What a piece of shit. Like, what a piece of shit for abandoning everybody just was. By the way, he left really because he was embarrassed that he couldn't kiss her. Okay. Anyway, he shows up at his parents' house 10 years later after abandoning everybody over embarrassment, which is ridiculous. And Effie's there at his parents' house. And she's like, your mom is basically like unable to take care of herself. I live here now. I take care of everything. Your dad's dead. And she's like, I've always loved you. He's like, aw, same. And kiss. Then he's like, hey, I have to actually like run off and go do a quick Reaver thing. And so he goes to some merchant's house because there's a sustrin that the merchant uses to I don't know, do some nefarious shit I don't even remember. And he goes, he kills the sustran. He waits until the merchant sees him kill the sustran so that the merchant doesn't think that his servants did it and like take it out on his servants. Why Oderin didn't just like leave a note being like, hey, I killed your sustran, bye. I don't know. This will be relevant in a second. He goes home, more time passes. Him and Effie have a daughter named Yrsa, which means she-bear. Interesting. It says this, their time in bed was their church. She was his religion. He believed in their love the way bishops believed in the All-Mother. I still have so many questions about the religion in this book series. If Oderin was pressed for his belief, he'd swear on the books that Effie was the goddess. That's sacrilege. And then apparently they're doing oral while their kid is in the crib, and it says, he gasped out at the pleasure of the wet, holy contact when her mouth found his manhood. Wet, holy contact. That's sure. But their bliss was cut short. He would slaughter kings for his daughter, but goddess if she didn't have terrible timing. Honestly, I've been there. He drinks tea with her by the fire, ensures that they have firewood, makes sure that, you know, his daughter and his wife are good to go because he's got to go run and do a reaver errand. And he made Effie repeat back to him everything that he taught her about the knife, which is weird to me because I'm like, wait, her dad was a butcher. Shouldn't she already know about knives? Anyway, also, why didn't he give her a sword instead of a knife? You didn't have a sword that you could have? Well, anyway, he comes back and there's a dampener around his house, he can tell. He goes in and the merchant that he killed the sustran monster of has killed his wife and baby, and he beheads the dude. Apparently that monster was really important to that merchant. I don't know. And it's called A Night Without Whispers because of the dampener? I don't know. He buries his wife. Why didn't he give them, like, she had a knife. She died. I think she died on her own knife. And like, why didn't he give them a sword? I don't get it. He takes his wife and daughter, he like gets them ready for burial. It says he tucked her against her mother's arms, resting his tiny she-bear against the breast of his beloved, against her heart in life and death. The two women, the only things in the world he cared about, slept with perfect stillness, eyes closed forever, blah, blah, blah. A baby is not a woman. A baby is not a woman. You could have said, and you could have like evoked more emotion by saying the two loves of his life, the only things in the world he cared about, slept with perfect stillness. An infant is not a woman. It weirded me out reading that. I don't look at my 4-year-old. I didn't look at my infant and think, what a little man. Like, what a man. That's not a man. That's a baby is not a woman. I get weirded out when people like the adultification of children. It weirds me out. It weirds me out. He says, my heart will belong to no one else after he buries them. And before she died, she called him her guardian angel, and he says at her grave, I was supposed to be your guardian angel, now you'll have to be mine. And I actually thought that was a very strong, sentimental like last sentence. I thought that was real good. Like because she was like, she said you're my guardian angel, and then at the end like he says you'll have to be mine. And I thought that those two things were good. I just didn't like everything from like how we got from point A to point B. Could have been so much stronger, but I feel that way about all the other parts of this series as well. So yeah, I didn't love it, but I give it a 2. It's not as bad as the other one. I felt like the emotional undercurrents here, even though some of the motivations like of him leaving, of the merchant and the sustran, motivations wise it didn't really make sense, but like there was something here. There was good stuff here, and to like cultivate that in a short amount of time was pretty good. So 2 stars. Does it feel like a Witcher knockoff? Sure, but like Witchers can't have kids, so not 1-to-1 in this particular portion of this story, so of this series rather. So not bad. Could have been worse, certainly. That's all I have to say about that. Oh, before I go, I have to say thank you so much to Garrison for sending me Pandora's Jar by Natalie Hines. I'm so excited about this. This was recommended to me by a close personal friend. Thank you to Garrison. Natalie Hines basically goes over like all the women in Greek myths. Natalie Hines is a comedian and just sort of like talks about the women in Greek myths with as much like reverence as people tend to talk about the men in Greek myths. So I'm really excited about this. This is nonfiction. This is really exciting. And then the other one Garrison sent me, I'm really excited about this because my friend Lou from Lou Reading Things has been telling me to read this and talk about it with my oldest, who has been like on and off really scared of death. And it's Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs by Caitlin Doughty, who runs the Ask a Mortician channel here on YouTube. So thank you so much, Garrison. This is basically like Caitlin Doughty asking a bunch of like questions that
lots of people, but like especially kids, have about like death. Like, what if they make a mistake and bury me when I'm just in a coma? Why don't animals dig up all the graves? Why do we turn colors when we die? Will my cat eat my eyeballs? Will my body sit up or speak on its own after I die? So I'm really excited about this. It says winner of Goodreads Choice Awards. Nice. So I'm really excited about this because I think it'll be a really good resource for my kid who has been like on and off kind of nervous about death and like worried about what happens after we die. And I would like to be able to answer some of those questions. So this is really helpful. Thank you so much, Garrison. I appreciate you. Let me know your comments, thoughts down below. And thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Hi, it's Editing Rachel, not Trash Can Rachel. And I have to say thank you for being a friend to my Therapy Bills patrons. And those are Alexander, Allie Magpie, Amanda M, Ash, Ashley, Bubble Tea, Chris, Claire, Des Robert, DJ Krimmer, Emperor's New Blues, Eric, Ethel, Harley, Jack and Jill, John E, Casey McKenzie, KM, Kate W, Kelly K, Quinn, Lex, Lula, Molly, Mrs. Kittybug, Alice, Peggy, Witch Bitch, Rain, SJ, Samar, Sierra, Scarlett, Shiny, SMK, and Zachary. Thank you all so much for being a friend. And before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend to my Potato Starch Marxist patrons, and those are AM Angel, Aiden, Alicia, Amanda, Amanda B, Andy, Angelica, Anita, Artie the Ninth, Ashley, Aubrey, Ava, BB, Blythe, Bookish Barbie, Ray, Bree, Brenda, Bryn, Caitlin, Carlin, Cassandra, Catherine K, Kathy, Chris, CJ, Colleen, Courtney, Corwin, Corey, Darren, Deandra, Deborah, Diet Goth, Dorian, Dorothea, Ebby, Eden, Elise, Ember, Emily A, Emily L, Faith, Grace, Gracie, Hannah C, Hannah T, Harpy Kuro, Hello There Darling, Ilianaka, India Inks, JM Tennant, Jay is on Olympus, JT, Jen H, Jennifer T, Jenny G, Jillian, Jules, Kaylee, Kat, Katya, Keely, Kendra, Kylie, L. Lindbergh, Laughing Cat Dog, Laura, Lauren B, Library of Scars, Lisa, Liz Cardigan, Luna Moth, Lustful Octopus, Martin, Maddie, Marcella, Marquita, Maz, Melara, Meow Meow, Morgan R, James, Nat, Natalie, Never, Nicole G, Nicole R, Nicole T, Nikki, Nine Binary, Paige E, Paige P, Foxglove, Pixel Stars, Piratheon, Quill, Rachel B, Raquel, Rat Sarah, Reba, Rebecca, Ren, Robin, Rowan, Other Rowan, Samantha, Sarah H, Sarah K, Sarah the Bear, Scarlett, Shanae, Shannon, Shayna, Sheena K, Sean, Stephanie, Talia, Three Old Dogs, Tiana, Trash Can Teddy, Sev, Valentine, Writer A, and Yesenia. Thank you all so much for being a friend.
Thank you.